Hello, Dr. Jonathan class. I'm Karen Kiprotich. I'm excited about giving this presentation because I put a lot of work into this. I'm going to go ahead and jump right in because I don't want this file to be too big when I upload it or too long. So my name is Karen Kiprotich, and I'm from Nashville, Tennessee. I work in the MNPS, Metro Nashville Public Schools school system, and I teach ninth grade this year. And what I decided to do my project over is the two different learning management systems. I'm going to be talking about Schoology and Google Classroom. Google Classroom is the open access LMS I decided to discuss, and Schoology is the private access one I decided to discuss in this paper. So as far as introduction, I just want to first talk about some of the needs in our school district. I'm using a PowerPoint that I had created just for my eyes to help me so I can make sure I'm staying on cue here. A couple of things that I would like to mention is that, excuse me as I wonder, each platform is being assessed by my school district. The needs of our school district is pretty wide and varies because we service K through 12. And we also have, teachers and administrators. So we have a lot going on, like any school district. And so the LMS that we choose is going to have to be able to be compatible with all of those different levels, skill levels, grade levels, entities within our organization. But some of the ones that I think is really important for teachers and classrooms, because, I don't care about any school organization. The purpose, the reason we do what we do is because it's for the students. And a big part of that are the teachers in the classroom. And so one of the first things that we need to address is to create deeper classroom experiences. I just believe that with any LMS system, it needs to be able to create meaningful experiences for our students. It's one thing to be able to just upload stuff online, but it's another thing when you can make connections to either the outside world or to people with different perspectives, different philosophies, different lifestyles. We can connect our students to the outside world in a learning way. I think we deepen the depth of education in our classrooms. So that's the first thing. Next is connecting faculty and staff. One of the great things about LMS is that it's able to create little small groups where we can share ideas, share lesson plans, share just a lot of different things. It's a community online where we may not be capable of meeting face to face, but if different schools with different teachers can meet simultaneously online somewhere in a safe space, I think we can create and collaborate great things for our students. This can also be used to provide online training for or professional development for our teams or our teachers. So that's another need that we need in our district. And then lastly, parent access is critical. I just had a conversation with a parent today who sat in my class, and she was raving about my online classroom that I have and how accessible it is for her and how it has helped her be on top of her son and make sure that he's getting what he needs from her at home when it comes to the assignments and things. And so those are I would say the four things that we need to make sure as a district that we're addressing. Those are our biggest needs. I think anybody will tell you or rattle off one of those things if you were to ask them that. So I'm going to move on, and I'm going to start by talking about Schoology. Now, Schoology is what we use in our school district. I'm not gonna lie, at first I wasn't a big fan of it, but it really, after I got the hang of it and after I was able to really upload a lot of my assignments and projects and videos and the things that I needed to teach my class, I actually became a fan of it. So we use the I'm always say this wrong, I cannot say the word, sorry. But ours is a safe network that we use at our school. Nobody can just access it. Everything is private, and it's which is really important when you're dealing with public education and student records and information and grading and all that stuff. And so this is the one I chose to speak about. So some of the strengths of Schoology. Number one, it's student and user friendly. Dealt with a lot of LMSs that are not very student friendly. They may be teacher friendly, and they may help the teacher on the front end, but on the back end, it's a lot of work because you as the teacher have to not only front load, but back end a lot of stuff by just teaching the system itself. And I love the accessibility of it. I love that everything is pretty much there. It looks like something that students today would use outside of school anyway. So like a Facebook or so, it's very appealing to this generation of students. It's not a confusing database when you get the hang of it. And I say that with caution, but it is not a confusing database. It has a privacy feature. Now, I know that there is an open access Schoology available, but again, our district was able to purchase the secure version of this. And so that's one of the features that I think is great that they even have that available. And so it has merged with our MNPS system really well. I love it because I don't have to load in my students into the online network, even new students. It's not like I have to put in a special code. If I get a new student, they're automatically drawn in. And I know that sounds like a no-brainer for maybe the college levels, but because the way K through 12 works, that's not always the case. It has always been like an issue, or we have to get them enrolled, or where we have to give the kids a code and they have to go and enroll themselves in the classroom. Whereas with this, we're able to just add them in. It also keeps up, it has the ability to keep up with attendance. Our district doesn't use that feature or the grading system because we have another system that we use that's called Infinite Campus. So, but it has the capability to do that. And I wish we did use that because it would make it easier for me to respond to students instead of having to check their work and then go to the other database, Infinite Campus, and type in my comments and grade from there. It would be better. I have to use 2 monitors because just the back and forth on one computer. The type of computers we use anyways are really old, so it can slow it down. And so that's a headache. However, I'm getting to the weaknesses. But it has a capability. It has merged with our system greatly. It also has an app and it has alerts. I love it because right now I can check my students' work. I can check comments. I can check the threads that I've put on there, and just to make sure the conversations are clean, make sure my students are understanding what I'm expecting out of the conversation and everything. I can comment back. I can like things. I just love it. It's very sociable. And it has the ability to insert and import from other LMSs. We just switched to Schoology this year. And so a lot of our stuff was on Blackboard. And so, when they told us we were moving, all I kept thinking was, oh gosh, I got to move all of this stuff over one by one. One of the good things is that it has the capability to import. It imported everything that I had in the same way that I had it in Blackboard and imported straight over to Schoology, which was a major headache because I did not want to spend my summer moving all those files over, but it did it itself. It has a great feature for differentiating among students. For instance, like today, I had some students who needed a different version of a certain assignment, and so I was able to assign them specifically the test. I didn't have to put it up and the whole class see it. I could assign just those students the test or the assignment, or give those students specifically maybe an additional PowerPoint or maybe a recorded version of PowerPoint or a video of me explaining something in depth for them. So it's great for when you have to modify for EL students or students with IEPs. It's really great for that. And then the last thing is it has made inserting content really easy, which is great because sometimes I know with my AVID class, we're doing a lot of Socratic seminars. And so it pretty much pairs with any scholarly or credible database that has articles or text that I can use. And so it's this thing called News ELA that I use to get my articles off for our Socratic seminars. And I was able just to automatically insert it straight into Schoology or YouTube clips, files. Pretty much anything can be inserted without any issue, any problem. So that's one of the great perks about this. So some of the weaknesses of Schoology, some of the features are not always teacher-friendly. Even though they're student-friendly, they're not always teacher-friendly. So this can be things like, assigning assignments to multiple classes at one time can be very tedious. And that's just a feature that they can work on. This is something that I just had to deal with way too much. It's kind of made me frustrated because when I go to delete, let's say I put something in all 6 of my classes, and then let's say I need to make a change, there's no way to bulk change things. I have to go into each class and change that. And that can just become very tedious. And, with technology today, that's just not something that people usually have to deal with. So I was really surprised to find that that was something that was still a little outdated. The features for navigating discussion posts sometimes can be a little dated, especially on the phone version. It's just a little weird. The navigation is just a little off. It can sometimes be inconvenient for Google Classroom users. I know a lot of my students, some of my teacher friends, use Google Classroom, and that's what they're used to, even though the district has bought and purchased this for us. But a lot of them are used to Google Classroom, so this can be a little inconvenient for them. I'm going to kind of hurry because I don't want to make this video too long. And then permission features can be confusing and unnecessary at times. Opportunities is that some of the features can still feel outdated, so they definitely need to update some of the features. Needs to find a way to meet the grading need efficiency with MNPS standards. So one of the reasons why we don't use Schoology for grading is because it doesn't meet all of our standards in MNPS. Provide user feedback by allowing users to recommend ways that features can be changed. So one of the things I do like about Schoology is that they provide a way for me as a consumer to give them feedback or to give them ideas. And it's not just like some survey. It literally is something where you can write to the tech people themselves and give them suggestions on how to make this database better, which I think is really cool. The thing they need to work on with that is that the recovery time is really long. And even if I just got a thank you for your feedback, or just, something, or we're working on that, or just something to let me know that they've taken my, comment into consideration, some type of feedback, let me know, well, this is why we wouldn't do this, or that's a good idea, we'll work on this, just something, because some features, like I said, I can be outdated, and I would like to know that they are heavily, at least considered changing them. Lastly, the threats of Schoology against Google. Google is a household name that's easily accessible to students without an app. Google is easier to find, and teachers often turn to it when systems like this don't work the way they think it should. So Google can be the next best thing. I have a lot of friends who use it in their classroom. And then known as a complicated system that has replaced Blackboard or any other LMS system. So those are a lot of the threats of Schoology. Let me get on to Google Classroom. Some of the strengths about this: it's known because of the Google brand and reputation. It seems to be more progressive in style, design, and it's user-friendly. Google users turn to it because it's familiar. And I am a Google user, but I've never been on Google Classroom. But I was reading some different articles, and they talked about how it's just very, a lot of people, teachers, use it because it's more familiar. They have partnerships with YouTube and other databases, which makes it seem more accessible for outside content. And then it's accessible on all devices. Some of the Google Classroom weaknesses is that they do not offer a student like a version that's like protect students info. This is an open shared database, which doesn't really work well with K through 12 education. It's not really easy to manage as of yet. They don't really have a lot of good automatic pop-up alerts like Schoology does, which I told you I enjoyed about Schoology. And then lastly, it's not easy to integrate with other Google products, as you would think, like Google Hangouts or email. You have to create a new username when you go into Google Classroom, which can be a bit of too much when you already have a Google account. Some opportunities for Google Classroom. It needs to provide features that allows teachers to differentiate instruction. It's not really good about that because it's open and it doesn't have a lot of features where you can differentiate between students, do those modifications with students with ELL or IEPs. It doesn't provide automated tests or quiz features as of yet. And this is one of the cool things that Schoology does offer. It even has a feature on there where you can go and find, tests from different websites and things, which I think is really cool. And then the last thing is communication on Google is impersonable. Pappas 2015 is an article that I read, said Classroom has not integrated Google Hangouts, which creates a problem. Online interaction between teachers and learner is only possible through Google Documents, which if you are using your phone, like a lot of my students do when you're not able to get the laptop card or go to the computer lab, I rely on their cell phones. And a lot of times they may have trouble opening a document and communicating with me. And so that can be an issue. So that's something they definitely need to work on in the long run. Lastly, Google Classroom threats. Blended instruction is done better on other platforms, and so that can be a downfall. That's one of the reasons why I think our school district did not choose Google Classroom, because